For nearly half a century, Voyager 1 has drifted into the cosmic dark, farther from home than any other creation of human hands. Out there, in the silent reaches beyond the sun's influence, it has been our lone sentinel, carrying whispers of Earth into the abyss. But recently, after decades of steady, predictable transmissions, something happened. It did not physically turn back, yet the signal it sent home carried with it a change so strange, so deeply unsettling, that it seemed almost like a glance over the shoulder, a hesitation in the endless march outward. The stream of data bore a pattern no one had ever seen before, an echo where there should have been only emptiness. It was not a malfunction, not a random error, it was a reply. And buried within that reply was a possibility that scientists had quietly feared for years. Voyager may have crossed into a realm that was never supposed to be there. A place that, if our instruments are to be believed, might prove we have never truly been alone. In 1977, two spacecraft, Voyager 1 and Voyager 2, left Earth on a journey that was meant to last only a few years. With technology now laughably simple by modern standards, processors weaker than a pocket calculator, memory smaller than the size of a single digital photograph, they embarked on a mission to explore the outer planets. And yet, instead of falling silent like every other probe before them, they kept going. Past Jupiter's roiling storms, past Saturn's pale rings, through the frozen outlands of our solar system, and onward toward the deep interstellar night. Over the decades, engineers dimmed their systems one by one, cameras shut down, heaters turned cold, instruments fell silent. Each switch-off felt like a small funeral for a piece of the mission. Still, Voyager 1 spoke to us, until recently, when its voice began to change. In 2012, the spacecraft crossed the heliopause, the invisible boundary where the sun's influence gives way to the greater galaxy. At 120 astronomical units from Earth, Voyager 1 was farther than any human-made object had ever traveled. Yet something about that crossing defied our expectations. The particle density shifted as predicted, but the magnetic field's direction remained stubbornly unchanged, a contradiction that made no sense. 2 years later, Voyager 2 reported the same anomaly. The models we had trusted for decades crumbled. The space beyond the heliopause was supposed to be untamed, chaotic. Instead, it was strangely ordered, almost shaped. Then, in early 2024, Voyager 1 sent back a transmission unlike anything in its long history. The signal was patterned, yet lacked structure, corrupted yet deliberate. Entire segments of telemetry repeated without cause. Subsystems that should not have been capable of sending such data were suddenly producing the same distorted message. The engineers called it a reflection loop, as if Voyager had shouted into a canyon that should not exist, and something out there had sent its voice back, altered, warped, and perhaps listening. At first, the explanation seemed simple, a fault in Voyager's aging memory banks, but when backup systems were engaged, the strange transmission persisted. Something, or someone, was interacting with its signal. Researchers compared the distortion to cosmic ray surges, plasma wave behavior, and the slow decay of the solar wind. The interference coincided perfectly with a spike in high-energy galactic particles, particles that should have been deflected by the sun's protective bubble. Even more disturbing, the magnetic field showed a sudden twist, an unnatural kink, as if the craft had slipped through a hidden membrane. Some suggested a dense pocket of interstellar plasma. Others, less eager to speak openly, speculated about structures in space that were not formed by nature. And all agreed on one truth: the rules we thought governed the universe did not apply here. As weeks passed, the mystery deepened. NASA eventually acknowledged a partial restoration of Voyager's signal, but its public statement left out the repeating loops, the inexplicable patterns, and the classified task force now poring over every byte of incoming data. Off the record, insiders admitted the signal carried oscillations at frequencies Voyager should never have been able to produce, as though something out there had piggybacked on its voice. Even more unsettling was the timing. These distortions began immediately after the probe crossed an abrupt drop in cosmic radiation, something that should have had no effect on its systems. Unless, of course, that drop was caused by something shielding it or studying it. Then came the discovery that made even hardened scientists uneasy. Voyager's trajectory had shifted, subtly but persistently, in ways no known planet or gravitational source could explain. Some spoke of dark matter, others of gravitational lensing by an undiscovered mass. But a single obscure paper suggested something stranger still, a distortion in the fabric of spacetime itself. Not a wormhole or black hole, but a boundary unlike anything we have imagined. A place where signals fold back upon themselves, where matter behaves differently, where time may not flow as we know it. And if that were not enough, Voyager 2 began showing anomalies of its own. Though millions of miles apart, the two spacecraft began to echo each other's disturbances, matching changes in signal timing, radiation exposure, and magnetic direction. The odds of such synchronization happening by chance in unrelated regions of space are effectively zero, which leaves one possibility: both are inside the same vast, invisible presence. The whispers grew louder in private halls. What the Voyagers had reached was not simply a region of space, it was a perimeter. And if there is a perimeter, then somewhere there must be a center, and whatever waits at that center may now know we are here. Among the mission's veterans, doubt began to erode certainty. What once could be dismissed as mechanical failure now seemed responsive. Environmental changes too precise, too timely to be accidents. More and more, the data hinted at the hand, or mind, of an intelligence, not in the obvious form of a ship or a message, but in the shaping of the very medium through which the Voyagers traveled. Perhaps Voyager 1 is no longer simply a wandering messenger. Perhaps it has become part of an experiment, not ours, but theirs. An experiment conducted by something that has waited patiently for us to stumble to its threshold. For 45 years, Voyager has carried our story into the dark, greetings etched in gold, the sounds of our planet, and the quiet hope that somewhere, someone might hear them. But no one expected the first answer to arrive like this, not as words, but as a distortion in the void, not as a welcome, but as an acknowledgement. And now, deep in the cold silence beyond the sun's reach, there is a place where time twists, where physics falters, and where the darkness is not empty. A place that seems to watch. When Voyager's strange loop of data reached us, it was more than a technical anomaly. It was a message, the kind that needs no translation. It said, "We see you." Scientists will argue over the details. They will model, debate, redact. But the truth remains, the edge of our solar system may not be the edge at all. It may be a doorway, and something has just opened it.